more questions instead of answers. So I think moving forward, we actually probably learn to shift from the VUCA. I know we talk a lot about VUCA word, but really transform or shift that into the VUCA prime, talking about vision, purpose-driven leadership, talk about more understanding when we say VUCA prime. Understanding is listen more, have more empathy on people, and talk about clarity, really, drive the focus, be simple, drive the simplicity, and eventually the agility. We talk about how can we apply experience from the past into a new and different situation. So that is the conversation, continuous conversation we have our people. But eventually, I think what really impress others, again, as a leader, we want to impress others with our strengths, but what really connects us deeply together is really our vulnerability. So the COVID-19 really taught us how can we be vulnerable, be comfortable with the uncomfortable, but also be vulnerable, because eventually showing your vulnerability is to show your strengths as a leader.
Yeah, and I think often, not that long ago, being the tough, strong leader, whether you're a man or a woman, was important, but the vulnerability is what connects. We're talking about authenticity earlier on. Thank you. Echo, I want to build on that with you because, one of the things about leadership or communities is about building networks. And I think it was mentioned earlier about how we build networks as men and women are different. So what is the call to action for women, whether it's you're an entrepreneur, you're a corporate woman, what do we need to be doing? How do we do this?
So network, I think one of the things is that really you have to find the community. I think one thing that you can go with is go with the community. Let's say if within Microsoft we do have this employee resources group, whereas is focused on different topics. Whereas then you can find your interest topic, whether it's woman related, whether it's tech related, whether it's accessibility related or ESG kind of things. There are different resources groups. Whereas within the company, then you can find that group and then expand your network from there as well. And that will be one. And the other one is purposefully kind of thinking of what do you want to do? What is your purpose? What is your desire? Is that for a career advancement? Or is that for learning a new technology? Or is that for learning a new business? Then you can go and find the expert in those areas to help you. And then again, leverage your allies, leverage your managers, and leverage your own team members to help you find that network, and then make that connection. So I think those would really help you to expand to different areas that can help you to be a more holistic in terms of your knowledge, your experience, and also your own capabilities as well.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes we underestimate the networks and the people that we know, because it's not always about the most senior folks in the room, you know what I mean? And oftentimes when we extend a hand, somebody extends a hand back, right?
Yeah, a lot of times you were thinking that, what if I ask this person, but he never replied back, or this is a senior person within the company, I send an email, maybe he never replied back to me. Don't feel like that. At least in my company, in the company I have worked for, most of the times when you send an email, when you say, hey, I need some help, here's my question, I really want to do better in this and that area, usually you will be amazed as to how responsive people are to your requests, and they will just say, most of the time they say, oh, I may not be the right person, but let me connect this person, that person. Just be, again, courageous enough to reach out, and then really you will be amazed as to what the response you will receive from all those leaders and peoples.
So you know why I'm smiling. You're going to get 257 emails. You know? Vamsi, I want to talk a little bit about some of the hard-earned lessons along the way. And, you know, oftentimes we get so focused on being successful and doing the right thing, and sometimes it's the hard knocks where we've really learned, where we've grown. Would you mind sharing?
I think the counterintuitive lesson I've learned is that your success, your strengths can be your biggest weakness. And your strengths will come in your way. Let me explain that. So when you start off early in your career, everyone has some strengths. Their go-to approach. That brings them some success, and they use it more and more. It brings them more success. They double down. They use it more and more. And then after you reach middle management, you will find that some of those same strengths will become your derailers. Let me give you a couple of examples. Attention to detail is considered a strength. You overdo it, it's perfectionism, analysis paralysis. Self-confidence is a strength. Taken too far becomes overconfidence and then prevents some of the team members from contributing. Decisiveness can be a strength. Taken too far, you will not express vulnerability because you're always seen to be, you want to be seen to be strong, decisive, know-it-all, in control. And then such leaders will double down and make bigger mistakes at a senior level. So the big lesson I have learned is using myself lesser, not more. So there is a tendency where even I want to use my strengths more and more. I want to be involved. But I have learned greater benefit comes from using myself lesser and staying in the background, almost exercising servant leadership, removing barriers for success, but not demonstrating that I have all the answers. If you demonstrate that, you will never get great input. Then people will upward delegate, and you will always lose out on an important perspective. So it would be useful, like you said, to express, I don't know the answers to all questions. It's fine. It is, like you said, Ambassador, the definitions are changing. You use the word heroic leadership. I mean, I grew up in sales. In sales, you have to be strong, decisive, quick. Those very things will come in your way unless you learn how to moderate it. You learn how to slow down. You learn how to say, I don't have all the answers.
So here's the $64,000 question. You remember that used to sound like a lot of money? But anyway. So my question to you is, so you've got really high self-awareness. How do we enable us to know as leaders when we are overusing something? Because some people might be going, yeah, I'm pretty good at that. But how, so how do we create that awareness? Sorry.
I think one is I think I have benefited enormously from 360-degree feedback throughout, at various stages in my career. And 360-degree feedback, again, if I chose my raters, what would I do? I will go ahead and pick people who will tell good things about me. It's human. But I think it will be useful for our own benefit. It's better to know early what our derailers are, what our developmental needs are, than later when you're too senior and too high up to accept the mistake. So I think one example is 360-degree feedback. And if you take it seriously, without being defensive, one can benefit. I remember the first 360-degree feedback I got, I said it's wrong. I don't agree with this. I'm not like that, et cetera, et cetera. But I think everyone knows inside of themselves what they truly are. I think if we just have that humility to say, okay, this is what probably I am, then you will make the adjustments. Nobody will be able to change in a dramatic way. We are made this way.
Yeah.
But we can make the adjustments And all I'm requesting is develop a sense of awareness about yourself. That helps prevent the bigger mistakes. If you just develop that little awareness, it's more than helpful. You don't need to make big adjustments.
Yeah, everyone is grabbing onto this one. Okay, MJ, I could see
Yeah,
you
can
like,
I share? Actually, it's a hard lesson I learned through my Japan assignment. So I think we all judge ourselves through our intention, but people see us through our behavior and words. So sometimes there are a lot of gaps. So I totally agree. It's very important to really build the self-awareness. When I first moved to Japan, I was the whole Japan HR head for J&J family of companies. And I need to lead the team to drive a HR transformation. It was very hard for Japanese talent because we need to shift the HR service from Japan to Manila. And for the team, my first impression was they really resist this type of changes. And they worry so much about whether Manila can really deliver the service. And I felt I was not included by the team until a couple of weeks later, I organized a meeting with all my team members. So we did a little survey question, and I asked them, say everybody, are you inclusive? Do you feel you're inclusive? And over 90% of the team member rated yes. And then I asked everybody, do you feel you're included? It's much, much lower. And I was shocked because I felt I was the only minority in the team. I was the only Chinese leading a group of Japanese. And then I asked each of them to say why you're not feeling truly included. And I started from myself. And I said, I'm the only Chinese here, and I can't really understand Japanese. And you always talk with each other in Japanese. And then the team member, actually, they standing up with each one. Someone say, MJ, you've been working with J&J for 20 over years, and I'm new to the company, and I don't know this company much yet. So I felt I'm the minority. And someone standing up to say, MJ, since you came, we have to switch our language to English, but my English is not good. So I felt I'm not included. So the real big lesson I learned through this is really seek first to understand, then to be understood. And also, as we move on, I really respect the level of dedication they put in terms of making the best quality of service for the leaders. So it's not at all about their resistance to change.